Good. How are you?
I'm all right. Is this Beck?
It is, yeah. I don't think we've ever had an opportunity to actually talk and say hello to each other.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Did you go by like a different name or something?
The Muse, remember? I think I was in your Discord as The Muse back in the day.
Probably.
It was a while ago. It was when you and Space Monster were in, you thought I was in cahoots with her.
Yo, that name sounds familiar, but I don't know much about them either. Like, I would have to go back into talk. This is like a few years ago.
It was like right around when Robbie was going on his like huge like doxing tour. Oh. And so Robbie had doxed me. He had doxed AJ. He doxed you. Yeah, he had done like a big doxing tour that year. Yeah.
That is nasty as hell. Damn. And you were the Muse. That's the channel you were.
Yeah. Which is since deleted, like, because of, I deleted all my channels. I had a few. And then because I kind of just like ran with characters and just like it was like little clip channels, right? Of like the nasty stuff that Robbie was doing at the time. And then I ended up deleting it because the person that we're talking about right now, Morbid, basically didn't give a crap that Robbie had doxed me or done despicable things and said despicable things about me.
That's crazy.
And just wanted me offline. And
were you dating at this time?
Yeah. And I wanted to defend myself, and he was pissed that I wanted to defend myself. And then, but yet it's funny because now when he's on his live streams, he's all about like, everybody trolls me. They just make up stuff about me. They just splice me. And apparently it's okay for him to defend himself against people doing terrible things to him. It's just not okay for other people to defend themselves.
Oh, that's because he didn't care about you. That's clear.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He didn't actually care about. How did y'all meet?
We met through Making Lemonade's channel when he was going up on her panel discussing the Chris Watts case back in like 2019, I want to say, and like the fall or winter of 2019.
Okay. 2019. Yeah. And I was dating from them after you. Did you have a channel back then?
I was a viewer, and then we became friends, like through email and stuff. And then we created a channel. I don't know if you ever saw it. It was called Social Evil TV.
Y'all had a couples channel? It was a couples channel or just a regular channel?
It was a true crime channel.
With both of you doing the content?
Yeah, so I wrote the entire script and documentary, and I found all the clips, and I found all the information for it, and he just read it and did the editing.
Did you ever edit any scripts for his content?
Which, like the stuff he does now?
Like anything on any one of his channels?
Yeah, Social Evil TV. That was our channel.
Just that one. I'm saying outside of the one that was combined with you. Have you? Okay.
No.
None research, nothing of that sort? No,
I don't want anything to do with that.
And yeah, got you, because it's crazy. Okay, not even, I assumed he covered some kind of true crime at any point on his channel.
Well, when he was Misery, he was live streaming pretty consistently, kind of like what he's doing right now, where he'll go for like 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 hours a night. And then, at the time, I think he was covering like true crime cases or documentaries where he would like make fun of things and make jokes about same things he's doing right now.
It's for true crime.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you say that was more like him making a mockery of it, or?
Well, looking back on it now, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Nasty. But how do you think his way of delivering content was once you were writing the script? You think that was like better than what he was doing on his own?
Oh, 100%. But then it wasn't the content that he wanted to to do because he said it took too long. Like me researching it took too long. And
whoa.
Yeah. And I wasn't doing it fast enough. And it wasn't gaining enough momentum fast enough. So he didn't want to do it.
That sounds ridiculous. Why would you not want research for what you're going to talk about? So do you believe that he does like little to no research before he goes live and does the content he does now?
100. Yeah, for sure.
Wow. Do you think there's maybe on some, okay, my buddy, the Galera, is beefing with this person or talking about this, so I'm going to just follow suit?
Yes, I would agree.
Nasty. Straight nasty. How did things start to like, I guess, end things between you? How did it go from you guys like really rocking with each other and then to where it is now?
Well, probably because he was continually trying to control me, and then it just didn't work out.
What do you mean?
Like, where like just consistently getting mad if he saw me online, or if he saw me talking to somebody in a chat even, or if for making videos defending myself against Robbie, or, you know, emailing a friend who was like in Australia, like everything was like, and then even in my real life. So then even when I wasn't online, he would be mad if I didn't text him back right away, if I, you know, was baking or like doing something else that wasn't, you know,
was busy.
That wasn't what he thought I should be doing, which was, I guess, pining over him all day, 24/7. I don't know.
So you think he was insecure?
Yeah, well, that would have to be the only explanation.
Option. Like maybe even needy.
I just think he's very controlling. He just wants the world to revolve around him. And it's pretty evident when you like watch his live streams. Now that I see what I see, that he's just naturally like that. Like he just wants the attention on himself 24/7, you know? And so him and the Glare will go, you know, they're batting back and forth just so that they can have attention.
Was he like this the whole time?
No, because when all that stuff started coming out about, you know, I guess some of the videos that you just played now, when all that started happening, there's like a huge group of people, and he just kind of got to the point where he stopped being online for a while, and he was good during that time. And I guess he was upset that, but then he went offline. I continued to be online because of the shit that Robbie was doing to me. And it just kind of snowballed from there, where, you know, he got mad that I was online defending myself and felt that I should be offline too. And I don't know, it just kind of got ugly, and it just got very convoluted over time, you know?
And he's okay with the Glare coming online and defending himself, as well as himself going online and
well, that was kind of like what, and I think I just told a bunch of people this last night. But that's kind of where like the spell got broken. There's like a live stream on my channel where I'm like, I've been in like the throes of active addiction since he ghosted me like last June. And
wait, so he ghosted you?
Yeah.
Is that how it ended?
Oh, he would do it all the time. He would do it all the time, and then he'd come back.
But is that the last time you spoke to him, was him ghosting you? Like
no, but that was like one of the worst ones. And then it threw me into like, because I'd been sober for a couple of years, and then it threw me into like a really bad headspace. And then I just never got out of that headspace afterwards. So I've made some considerable mistakes online with some of the shit I've said or done, just not acting very well. But then, you know, I did leave this one live stream up from last week where I was pretty hammered, and I ended up getting even more hammered and pretty pissed off. But you can see in real time, like sort of like the spell that he had over me, I guess, breaking when I find out that he's in cahoots with the Glare, because the Glare did super despicable things, and so did
wow. So wait, the Glare, what did the Glare do to you?
Well, he like during that whole time with Save Robbie, those guys were all friends together.
Mhm.
Like all of them were friends together. And there was also the Sophie Long case, right? And I'm a domestic violence survivor, so Robbie was like doxing my national news article online, and
Wow.
he was saying that he was going to bring like my ex-husband up on panel.
Disgusting.
Yeah. And then the Glare was doing, similar stuff on his channel with the Sophie Long case and just, doing despicable things. Oh, and being a pedo supporter with Truthy Magoo. And it was gross. So the fact that Morbid, I guess, teamed up with this guy who's got a long history of definitely not being a victim's advocate or caring about victims at all. Like, I don't know if you know this, but he was like a mod for Critical K who has been sued and now, has been found guilty of what she did to Ray Andraccio, showing her like son's autopsy photos, just like Zav Girl. And he was a huge mod for her. The only reason why he ever left her was because she just booted him the way that Critical K does. And
I think it was deeper than that. I think it was the fact that he couldn't gain anything else from her. That's when around the time I first heard of him was the Critical K thing. I debated her around that time, smoked her boots, her and the whole panel. But he was like her henchman, right? The same thing what he does for Annie is what he was doing for Critical K back then. She bought his mic, his whole setup for him to start streaming on his own. And once he got a following, he became the anti-Critical K channel where he would stream about her every day. And then eventually he kept doing that same process and mooching off of bigger creators.
Well, so then eventually him and I ended up getting in contact through Messenger.
Oh, no, wait. This is the twerk stream. What the hell was that? What I heard you say it. What was the twerk stream?
So way back, like when I first started streaming and I'd met Morbid, I started doing live streams. And then he was like, he's always been like that with Morbid, like, because Morbid used to be Misery and Misery had like 100,000 subs. So like the Glares always had like a hard on for,
subs, kissing his butt.
Well, any creator who has subscribers that he can ride his coattails off of, or any creator that he feels that he can glean some information or knowledge from that'll help him build his channel, right? So he's just
big facts.
He's very disingenuous. And so that's why with like Morbid, that's when the spell was broken. I was like, if you are going to invite this guy to your panel and this is the person you're going to team up with day after day, claiming and that you're victim advocates or you're helping victims or you're going after people that hurt victims, and yet this is the people that you decided to like team up with. Like clearly I was is the word disillusioned, right? Or I was in an illusion. I'm not sure, but I was very clearly under some type of weird impression that he wasn't like that. And clearly
was it love?
I thought I loved him. I don't think that was reciprocated at all. You don't ghost people and control them like that and then do the things that you do. And like he did like, spend money or whatever, but it was always just like monetary things. It was never like affection or caring or like getting to know me, or it was always just it was just weird. I don't know. Looking back on it now, it was just really bizarre. And I think
that's just normal, a part of like us being adults and getting into relationships sometimes. I think that you could have been just not under a spell, or like he was trying to necessarily control 100%, but you could have just been in love and you were willing to look over a few things at first because you thought that this person loved you as well.
Well, and yet I was very loyal, like almost to a fault. Like I should have probably gone through stuff. Like he had always said to me, like, don't look at anything online. Don't do this. Don't do that. It's not true. And I was just like loyal to a fault, I guess. Like I just trusted him and I believed him when he said that it was like not to worry about it and it's not real life. He didn't do those things. It's just the internet. It's separate. It's not real.
Really?
Yeah.
It's not real. It's real when he's trying to sue me. It sure look real. He threatening to sue me.
Right. And it certainly was real for him when he was getting sued back in the day by, I think it was like some Gonzo podcast or something like that. There's like a TMZ article out there about that. But like,
what?
Yeah.
I might have to look that up. That is crazy. So was you aware of some of the stuff that I've been reviewing before you dated him?
Yeah. And I'd been told by the guy that sent you those videos, Vin Vader, like these are people like I even like went to bat for Morbid and like said pretty heinous things about the guy whose video you just showed. Mm-hmm. And I like had to reach out to him and apologize because like I was just under the idea that this was just the internet and these people were just throwing shit at each other and it wasn't real. Because that's what
even with the audio?
Well, I just never watched it. I just never watched it. So I was told about it, but I never like watched it. I just assumed it was just like people flinging shit at each other and it was whatever. It's kind of like when, you know, now that I'm like out of this and I'm going through videos on like Captain Kangaroo's channel about Save Robbie and I'm finding him doxing me with my real name again. And I'm like, and then I'm listening to the things that he's saying and it's angering me and it's making me mad again. And then I find
Kangaroo should probably bleep some of those segments out if that's what they're going to do.
Right. And but it's funny how like these clip channels, like when they do this kind of stuff, like it's, you know, a lot of people won't go there or maybe the quality isn't great or, you know, you're just under the impression that it's just not real. Right. And then now I get it. I'm like, no, this is pretty real. It's pretty evident that this is pretty real. Yeah.
No, it's extremely real. And as for clip channels, guys, I gotta do better. Like, try to bleep out certain things, edit, yada, yada, yada. I don't care if you clip me. You clip me until your heart is content. But something like that, with someone being doxxed, I would assume that you would bleep it out, right? And not allow.
Oh, no, it's like my full name on there.
Well, that's nasty.
Yeah. You know, and they all think it's okay. Space Monster's done the same. And then she claims that like, it's okay because she wasn't the one who doxed me yet. She was my friend. And then it turns out that she's also fairly controlling as well. So, you know, I have I have a bad habit of like falling in with control freaks, apparently. So,
you say that a few times. I want to ask you this too as well. Did you ever think about that and see if is it something with you to where you're choosing the wrong people?
Oh, like 100%. Like that is definitely like something. I was talking about this with a friend of mine the other day, like in real life. And I was just like, you know, it's almost like the more uncomfortable I feel, it's probably good for me. Do you know what I mean? Because the more comfortable I feel, it's probably not good for me. Because if I feel comfortable, it's because I'm used to that behavior and I think it's normal because I'm like, I grew up with it, right? So it's, to me, when people act like that, it's normal. So it's almost like I have to get to that like uncomfortable point of like not feeling comfortable with how somebody's treating me, even though it might be healthy to most people, but to me, it might feel uncomfortable. And I have to realize it's probably for the best for me if I'm feeling uncomfortable and questioning it.
Well, that would depend. I think that it should be more that I think you just need to find yourself and get to know yourself better. And then once you start meeting new people, you'll find like more of a fit. Like it's certain things like, have you taken the BDSM exam, the Griggs exam, love language exam, like all these like things that you could use to get to know yourself better and then know what type of person fits you. So if you don't like being controlled, and maybe you might need to be the one in control within that relationship. You might need to find a partner that's more submissive, or maybe a switch to where you guys go back and forth and you know, handle things a certain way. Right. But that's all like within the dating world. I don't blame you for it, but it's more on you just got to just live and learn. Right. Now, you know, you was with something that was horrible that you didn't like. So now, you know, what's the steps that you can take to not do that again type of stuff.
Right. Exactly. And just back off.
Exactly. I do think that you should take those exams that I mentioned. They're like little quick 15-minute exams that helps you get to know yourself and what you're into, or love languages, like what type of stuff you don't want to be near and around. I think that's like a great way to
that
like.
would be good to know what I don't want to be near and around.
You got to treat dating like a job interview. When most people go on job interviews, are they themselves? Nah, they put up their proper, most like, I guess, best version of themselves. And then once they get comfortable in the job, then they reveal their true selves, right? And a lot of people do that just off of instincts, especially within the dating world. So like you got to do certain things to kind of really pick the person's brain and get to know them even more when you're beginning to date them before you even get to those stages.
That's true.
Like,